Guys, I'm really excited for today's project because it feels like this is something that should have been done years ago, like 10 years ago. But no, these guys are the first ones to really bundle everything together, fit the jigsaw together, and make something that really works. And that project is Glue. I know it's a funny name. I actually got a piece of glue here. It's like gluing things together or something. But they say they're the everything chain, right? Blockchain, hub services, everything. I think we've seen pictures like that before, but never done in this way. Quick TLDR, what they are is they're combining layer 1 and layer 2. So they're a blockchain that, like in terms of tech, layer 1, layer 2 together. It sounds so obvious, right? Ethereum, we have Ethereum like kind of a standalone and then have other developers come up and build second layers on top of that for gaming services, etc. But these guys are doing it all themselves. Interesting, right? First concept, hey, really? Wait, what? Think about usage, right? Second thing, service layer. Basically, what they're doing with service layer is they're adding customer support into the equation. Yet again, I don't think anyone's done that before, coupled with an interface hub, like kind of a wallet that glues everything together, and a security fund as well. So yeah, it feels so obvious. Like these are things that we've seen before many times, but never put together in the same project. What's also interesting about Glue is they're still very early phase right now. So they just started, communicating, they started their X's, but in terms of follower count, not exploding yet, which is a very good opportunity for us to join this community, right? Join them, and you can expect them to reward. You can expect, cool things like airdrops in the future, tokens. There's going to be a huge launch phase. So I feel like we're right early for this concept, and let's talk about it in today's video. So anyways, everything covered here is my personal opinion, not financial advice, and I do want to thank Glue for sponsoring this video. All right, let's start off with the core concept of Glue. So what obviously attracts me first and foremost, like as someone who's been in blockchain for a long time, is the interconnected layer 1 and layer 2. So let's take a look at the tech first of all and what this is all about. The tech is actually very interesting because it uses parts of stuff that's around but never really combined in this cool way. First and foremost, they're building on substrate. So if you know substrate, if you know I'm a big fan of Polkadot, they're using that technology there. But what's also interesting is that they're putting EVM compatible layers. So they're making it as Ethereum compatible as possible. So that way developers can port their apps very easily onto Glue. What's also very interesting is they're adding layer 2 and layer 1 in the same project. You see right now, if you go on DeFi Llama, yes, we see a huge amount of value locked in different chains, and a lot of them are on Ethereum layer 2s, right? But the problem here is that Ethereum layer 2s are built by different teams. They're not the same team as Ethereum. There's no official Ethereum layer 2. So we can see Blast coming in, we see Arbitrum, we see Base. All of these are built on top of Ethereum, adding to Ethereum, but not officially supported by Ethereum. This is not optimal because at the end of the day, if you think about it, if anything goes wrong, Ethereum's not going to say, yeah, we're going to save your assets and roll back a blockchain and, make everything work again. No. Ethereum's going to say, yo, you built on top, you guys know the risk, deal with it. Go deal with it on yourself, on your own, right? So that's why it's organically built. It's haphazard because there's so many different people building on top of it, and not all of them are communicating with each other. But what Glue has is that it's really thinking, you know what? Why don't they just build layer 1 and then build their own layer 2, and it works well with each other. So it's right from the ground up. It's designed to work. Now, why have a layer 2 then? Well, their layer 2 is split between 3 different use cases: finance, gaming, and payment. So I feel like that's kind of interesting. Like it's kind of evolution of ideas, right? You see these different layer 2s kind of developing, and we see these use cases. So what Glue kind of did was that they saw, okay, here are the biggest use cases, and let's have a different layer 2 for each of them. So it's not just a single layer 2, but there's a gaming one for all the gaming services, there's one for finance, and there's one for payment. Why this is important is because if gaming layer has, let's say there's a game that's blowing up and it's all the hype, all the rage, and it's overblown, overloaded, that means it's going to get a lot of use, but at the same time, overloading the gaming layer 2 will not affect the finance layer, right? The financial apps, the DeFi apps will still be kept in their own kind of hub. And I think that's quite important because we see various chains become unusable. And we've seen that quite a lot. Let's say, for example, there's a huge gaming app on Ethereum launch, and all of a sudden the gas prices go skyrocketing high, and no one can afford simple transactions or even payments, right? What are you going to tell your vendors at that point, right? Like, oh, just an hour spike. Now it costs like $100 to take your transaction for a $1 cup of tea. That doesn't work long term, right? Like that's why it's not stable enough. But by breaking down use cases, I think that's where, yeah, like partitioning out, providing official support, and then incubating these environments where, sure, games can interact with each other. And I think gamers will understand, oh, wait, if there's one game that's blowing up and then one game slows down, that's fine, right? But that doesn't affect the finance or the payments. So I feel like that's the genius of this, right? Separating, kind of isolating these functionalities and then providing support in each way. Now, Glue, actually, I've actually looked at a few of their videos, and they actually want to incubate and grow the ecosystem. So their devs and the teams have come out and say, you know what, they want to strongly encourage the developers to have similar UI. And something quite interesting is what the developer Snapshot is saying. So let me take a look at this clip.
I think when there's a more retail user base, there needs to be at least a little bit of curation on the front end and trying to figure out what are the easiest to use dApps, how do we integrate them into one front end, how do we get more of a common design language, right? Just like you're going on an iPhone, chances are the apps look reasonably similar, right? There's a lot of...
See, this is something that I think a lot of people who are obsessed with tech, they don't think about. Right? This is why the iPhone performs so well versus like something like Android. iPhone's always got this kind of edge. And why? It's because everything feels like it belongs there. Right? You don't go into one app and it feels like Windows 98. You go into the next app and it feels like, oh my God, we're in the future, 2050. Right? iPhone design language, almost all developers who want to develop on Apple, they feel like they're cohesive. And you see Google sending out memos and trying to tell people to do the same thing. And this is what the industry is moving towards, because when you use an iPhone, all the apps feel like they belong with each other. They have the same language. Everyone feels like they're just using the same thing and there's no friction. But right now, with the current state of DeFi, you got a few different interesting interfaces, right? 1 inch. You can tell very clearly some are going for sleek, some are going for Windows 95. It's very different. And I feel like with Glue coming together and saying, look, why don't we try to fix or improve usability by making sure that the design language and developers are working closer together to provide something that looks similar and feels similar. I think that's a very, very powerful concept. So I think that's the core idea. Like in quick summary, having the tech foundation, basically having their own substrate-based layer 1, and then having their function-based layer 2s being in the same ecosystem and using the same token, genius. It's like it's being done, but not done in the same team. Having a ecosystem that encourages the same design language, also really, really important. All this facing servicing users, making it easy for people to access.
Also, another very interesting feature regarding the user interface is their Glue Hub. It makes everything look visually cohesive, and any project that builds in a Glue Hub can adopt the same look, and this is really important. I mean, if you think about it, Coinbase and why it's used by so many users and why it's good is because it's visually cohesive and it's very friendly to use. It builds trust in the user. So what they're trying to do with the Glue Hub is they're trying to make it look similar and make the apps look similar and feel the same. And of course, the Glue team will audit and secure the best projects there. And lastly, the service layer. And I think this is a very new concept. This is something we haven't seen in any other project, which is the service layer is providing service directly to the customer or anyone who uses blockchain. Now, this is actually extremely important for anyone new entering crypto. I mean, any of us here, yeah, we know what to do, right? How to secure a wallet, how to fix a transaction, how to replace a transaction. And these all are very difficult for new users coming into crypto, which is why having a service provider, someone that can directly provide support to a different user, and even in different countries, in different languages, this is extremely important. Their approach, well, the Glue's approach to the service layer is kind of akin to the Apple App Store. They don't directly provide apps, but rather they allow people to integrate their services into the Glue service layer. So this is rather a kind of a new concept because, I think a lot of people that try to do it themselves, they fail because there's just so many languages to cover, so many different people to cover. So instead of doing everything yourself, opening it up and allowing different companies to integrate their services into the service layer makes sense. How it works is that when you go to the Glue Hub, Glue will take a small percentage of each transaction and gives it to the service layer. So this way, services like accounting or tax help, they can basically take a small percentage of each transaction and then provide the services for what they do. This is not done on any other chain. So whether it's Solana or Ethereum, there's no other chain that does this directly at the blockchain level. And this directly provides greater access for new users entering the platform.
And this is what you think of when you see the Ethereum ecosystem. It's really geared towards developers, which is great if you're treading and building new things. But once that building's finished, you need to think about the users. And I think that's where Glue is more focused. Like their culture is more about servicing users, like growing that up. So that's what I'm excited for. That's why I feel like, okay, cool. Like finally we're at the phase where we have everything. All the tech is, it's none of it's like, oh my God, it's crazy out there. But the direction and combining everything out there, packaging it all together. And I think that's the analogy here will be the iPhone. None of, when Steve Jobs first announced the iPhone, none of the tech in the iPhone was really ever revolutionary. It was really evolutionary. It was just combining what's available. Like large screens, yeah, that was available at the time. Touch screens, that was available at the time. Fast processors, that was available at the time. Like it was bundling them all together and having one platform and one ecosystem for that. That's what made iPhone powerful. That was what changed like the whole landscape of phones. Like now we have smartphones, and this is like almost like the smart chain, right? Like it's got everything that you need for a smart chain to work, but with the focus on those users and front-end UI. In terms of the devs and founders, the key focus is Augo, the co-founder, and Snapshot, the other co-founder. You guys should find both of them on Twitter and follow them. I think it's a really easy and early stage to follow them. I think that's like whatever they say will have a big impact on future airdrop farming efforts. So I'll make sure Ron follows that and make sure that this is going well. And lastly, timeline for everything. So the testnet is already live. So I would definitely recommend that you check out the testnet and start clicking around there. Then they're going to do the main token sale in Q3 of this year. So there's a few more months for this. And I feel like right now it's the best time to get into their community. Start following, start attending their events. Definitely, I'm sure anything like this, if they need to reward community and focus on users, we're the users, okay? So getting users early. I'm not going to say airdrops because I don't think that's the right thing to say here. I don't want to speak on their behalf, but my guess, get there early, right? Then the main net is gonna launch in Q3 and Q4 of this year. And then of course, Glue Hub features, that's gonna come the same year. So everything seems to be packed towards Q3. So Q3 is where all the action is happening. So anyways, guys, that is it for Glue. I think this is I feel like, why haven't people bundled everything together like this before? I feel like this is something that makes a lot of sense, and the focus makes a lot of sense too. And in my mind, I feel like this will contribute a lot to pushing the usage of everything here to normal users. And yeah, it's really blockchain growing up. So anyways, guys, what do you guys think about Glue? Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys like more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And of course, click that notification bell because we do a lot of lives, give you guys up-to-date information of what's happening in the market. So see you next time.